Hi, Slim Doggy Steve here, and today we're going to start a series of mini videos that help you understand how to read a dog food label and know how much and what to feed your dog. This video series has been taken from a presentation that was done at BarkWorld 2013 in Atlanta, Georgia, and what I thought we would do is break it down into much smaller, manageable pieces so that you can peruse through and absorb the information at your leisure. And so this is going to be the first of a whole handful of videos that walk through this presentation. We're going to start off with the estimate of calories and really get your arms around how much you should be feeding your dog, and then we'll ultimately move into ingredient analysis and help you understand how to read a label. So for the first part, let's start with this very, very telling quote from Dr. Ernie Ward, founder of Association for Pet Obesity Prevention. And I'm going to read it verbatim because it is so important and spot on. And what Dr. Ward says is that the most important decision that you make each day regarding your pet's health is what you feed it. What you pour into that bowl each morning has the greatest influence of anything else you will do to keep them healthy and living long. What a great quote. And I will tell you that, at least in the conversation that I heard, Dr. Ward, when he was talking about what you put into that bowl, I think he was focusing a little bit more about the quantity and as it relates to obesity. But in truth, it's not just the quantity, it's also the quality. And hopefully our video series here will help you guys understand how to analyze both of those. Before we get into the details, for those who don't know, Slim Doggy was started and inspired by our yellow lab, rescue lab, Jack. When we rescued Jack from a shelter, he was 105 pounds, and he was on Prozac for bad behavior and Rimadyl for joint pain. And here's a picture of him a couple of days after we first got him. He was a tank, and essentially we called him a train wreck. And then we did a lot of research. We worked with our veterinarians, and we created some algorithms, and we were able to figure out a feeding plan for him. And within 3 months, he was down to about 83 pounds. And the model for fitness and canine health and well-being. So there he is with his workout vest and his workout equipment. He's trying to keep, nice and in great shape for his admirers. So this whole thing with Slim Doggy started because of Jack, and we've learned through that experience over the last couple of years a lot about food quantities, serving sizes, calories, as well as analyzing the ingredients that go into the food. So let's start with the fundamental problem that we have in this country, because we have more than half of our dogs are overweight or obese, and that is, how much should I feed my dog? And the answer is, it's all math. So there's no magic bullet here. It's really about calories in or calories consumed versus calorie spent or calories expended on living and exercise. And for most of us who have dogs that are overweight, the key formula is simply that your calories that you burn each day should be greater than or equal to the calories eaten. And as long as you stick to that, your dog will, at worst, sustain their weight and at best lose some weight. Now, there are 3 primary factors that determine how many calories your dog burns each day. And we use kcals to represent calories, by the way, so we may use that interchangeably. The first factor is age, and especially age relates to puppies, because puppies, their bodies are growing so fast that their bodies are furnaces and they burn so many calories you wouldn't believe. So you rarely see a fat puppy. So that's the first factor. The second factor is their weight. So how much do they weigh? And basically that is the largest factor with determining how many calories your dog requires each day. For most dogs, it's probably close to 90% of their daily calorie needs. For more active dogs, it could be 80%, 70%, and maybe even 60% if you have a really active working agility type dog. The reason why the weight is so important is because the metabolic processes that are required to sustain life burn these calories, and the bigger the animal is, the more fuel it needs to sustain life. So I bring this up because it really informs the idea that diet is such a crucial part of weight management. The third part is activity, and activity typically ranges between 10%, maybe as high as 40% for active dogs, but for most of you out there, it could be 10% or even less, actually, of your dog's daily calories that are burned during exercise. I think most dogs probably 10 to 15%, but the bottom line is that activity is really important, but it's a relatively small component compared to their overall size. So we use the expression, looking at those numbers, and we use it in the human world as well, in the human fitness world, is that you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. But, and we'll come back to the but in a second. So here's an example of a few scenarios where you have a 10-pound, 40-pound, and 70-pound dog, and how many calories they burn on average per day based on different activity levels. So you can see the difference between little exercise and 30 minutes of vigorous exercise, again, relative to their weight. And the key thing that you'll notice is that the difference between a dog that burns little exercise and goes out 30 minutes of vigorous activity per day is not that much. Like we said, it's 10, 15% maybe of the total amount burned. So the key is that you need to understand that the diet is the biggest impact, because the amount that you serve them is what's really going to control the weight. And I will tell you that, with that said, the exercise component is very, very crucial because, and we'll get into this a little bit more in another session, every day, if you removed the exercise component, and even in the example highlighted in green there, the 30 calories that you burn just on a small walk adds up over the course of a year and can slowly but surely lead to consistent weight gain, and over the course of 1 or 2 years could turn out to be obesity. Okay, so that's the first part. We'll be back. Just keep following the series, and we'll have some more information, and hopefully have you guys give you guys some good tips about how to manage your dog's weight. That's it.